Welcome to Learn to Move, Move to Learn, implementing kinesthetic strategies in middle school classrooms, a professional development program. This presentation highlights the key elements of my capstone, how integrating kinesthetic strategies into instruction can improve student engagement and achievement, as well as the classroom culture. My research focused on utilizing kinesthetic learning strategies, employing movement to enhance engagement and comprehension. This ties into frameworks like differentiated instruction, universal design for learning, and the 5E instructional model. The research problem statement. Unfortunately, many classrooms rely heavily on seated instruction. Teachers want to engage students but struggle due to time constraints, pacing guides, worries over classroom management, and limited support. This contributes to what researchers call the problem of sitness, where student engagement and learning suffer from inactivity. This central question guided my research. How might a professional development program be created to train teachers to incorporate kinesthetic practices into their curricula effectively and confidently? Why it matters. A growing field of neuroscience supports the cognitive power of movement. The work of Rady, Medina, and others show that physical activity boosts brain function, focus, and mood. When we combine movement with learning, we not only build a positive classroom climate, we support cognition and emotional regulation, especially for diverse learners. The Capstone product is a professional development program designed for middle school teachers. It models kinesthetic strategies, provides adaptable examples, and builds teacher confidence through active learning, reflection, and opportunities for collaboration. The program commences with an opening session that introduces the evidence-based efficacy of kinesthetic strategies and addresses the research's data regarding barriers to implementation and teachers' perceptions and needs. It then breaks into learning centers that model a variety of brain or movement breaks and allow teachers to practice these strategies. The opening training then transitions to content area sessions, where teachers can explore strategies tailored to the subjects of ELA, math, science, and social studies. These strategies aim at delivery of content, review of content, and formative assessments. The opening then culminates with a collaborative session, which allows teachers to modify strategies and brainstorm lesson building and assessments for their content areas. To support teachers in their efforts, a continuum of support is provided through targeted PLC meetings and a secondary source within the digital toolkit of strategies. To answer my research question, how a PD program might be created to train teachers to use kinesthetic practices, I used an explanatory mixed methods design. This began with quantitative data collection to identify broad patterns, followed by qualitative methods to explore those results in greater depth. By combining both forms of data, the study captures measurable trends and teacher experiences behind them. Data were collected in two phases. First, teachers completed a quantitative questionnaire through a Google form that included multiple choice Likert scale and open-ended questions about their experience, perceptions, and needs. Next, semi-structured focus group interviews allowed participants to discuss their responses more deeply, sharing personal examples, challenges, and ideas for effective support. Quantitative data were analyzed using descriptive statistics, identifying patterns such as the most common barriers or perceptions. Qualitative data from the focus group were coded into themes, highlighting deeper insights into teachers' experiences and needs. This sequential process ensured that focus group questions built upon the survey results, thereby strengthening the validity of the findings. Graphic representations of key data. First, let's begin with the quantitative results. Figures A through D illustrated the participant backgrounds, all highly experienced educators, with 5 out of 6 reporting over 16 years of teaching experience. However, Figure D revealed an important gap. Only 1 of the 6 participants had received professional development on kinesthetic strategies in the past 3 years. Next, figures E through H focused on perceptions. All participants agreed that kinesthetic strategies improve learning and engagement, and most disagreed that these strategies negatively impact classroom management. However, figure I showed a disconnect. While teachers believed in the benefits, many were neutral or uncertain about their confidence in how to implement them. Last, figure J illustrates the coded data from focus group interviews regarding the need for support. The consensus was on practical examples, demonstrations, and collaborative planning time. The cited need for time was consistent with the original questionnaire data and was overwhelming. This was seminal in informing the design of the PD program. Results and conclusions together, the findings showed that teachers are ready and motivated to use kinesthetic strategies. They just need the tools and time. The research concluded that an effective PD program should focus on three main principles. First is modeling. Teachers want to see movement-based strategies demonstrated in realistic classroom settings. Second is collaboration. Opportunities for teachers to plan and practice together build confidence and consistency. Third is a continuum of support. Follow-up sessions, peer observations, and digital resource sharing help sustain teachers' efforts. Ultimately, this study demonstrates that when professional learning aligns with teachers' readiness and need for practicality, movement-based teaching can become a sustainable, high-impact practice. One major strength of the methodology was its mixed methods design. This method used both the survey and focus group interviews to allow for depth of insight into teacher perceptions regarding efficacy and barriers to implementation. However, there was a clear weakness of the methodology. This weakness was borne out through the small sample size, as the study included data from only 6 respondents. That made the group somewhat homogeneous and may have limited the diversity of perspectives. There were several influential factors that may have affected the study's results. The first was the nature of the mixed methods approach, which allowed for quick collection of responses. A second factor was the assurance of anonymity for respondents. This allowed for candid, honest responses. Another was the relational familiarity between respondents and the researcher, which promoted honest and open discussion. However, there were also some factors that may have limited the study's results. As mentioned previously, the small sample size was a weakness. This, combined with participants' years of experience teaching at the middle school level, made the group somewhat homogeneous and may have limited the diversity of perspectives. The research raised several areas for further investigation. First, expanding the participant pool would strengthen future studies. Gathering data from a broader range of teachers and administrators, including those from elementary, middle, and high school levels, as well as from more diverse demographics, would provide a more thorough understanding of the perceptions and applications of kinesthetic strategies. Second, it could be valuable to analyze the transferable benefits between kinesthetic learning and social and emotional learning. Both fields emphasize engagement, motivation, and brain-based learning, so exploring overlapping strategies could highlight important cognitive and social-emotional connections of learners. Finally, future investigation of this research should focus on developing reliable metrics for assessing the impact of kinesthetic strategies on student engagement and academic performance. Measuring these outcomes over time would help in validating and refining the efficacy of movement-based instruction. In closing, integrating movement through kinesthetic strategies transforms learning. This research and professional development program demonstrates that kinesthetic strategies are not just novelties to promote student engagement. They are powerful tools that enhance comprehension, focus, and classroom climate. Teachers are eager to integrate kinesthetic strategies, but need time, tools, and support. Therefore, effective professional development must model, collaborate, and sustain. Finally, by empowering teachers with practical, adaptable movement-based practices, we can create classrooms where every student is actively engaged in the learning process. This way, we can all learn to move and move to learn.